The Titans have traded for linebacker Ernest Jones from the Rams. What does he bring to this Titans defense? How does he fit in? What do the Titans give up? Is the move worth it? And how does this change the Titans' defensive ceiling this season? We're going to break it all down now. This is the Music City Audible. Let's get to it. Oh, welcome everyone to another episode of the Music City Audible podcast presented by Broadway Sports Media in partnership with 440 Sports. I'm Justin Graver. With me, as always, Justin Melo. And here we are for an emergency pod. This is going to be a quick one. We're going to try to keep this under 10 minutes, just reacting to the Titans trading for Ernest Jones. Later today, Justin and I are going to hop back on the mic after the roster cuts are finalized and react to the final 53-man roster for the Titans. So we're going to keep this pod very much focused on Ernest Jones. That includes the Malik Willis trade. We'll react to all that later. Right now, let's focus on Ernest Jones. Justin, what was your reaction when you saw this news come down?
Well, it's a big one. It's definitely a big one. You know, it's funny. I had thought that they might be a player for him just because of how he fits the defense, how he fits Denard Wilson's defense specifically. But I didn't know that they'd pull it off. And I certainly didn't think, the capital that they gave up would be as low as it was. And we're going to talk about that in a second. But this is a great deal, is my initial, opinion, and one that really improves this linebacker core. You know, there have been a lot of moving parts over this last few days. We'll talk about that in a second, but really, really big news here for the Titans. Another phenomenal acquisition by general manager Ran Carthon.
So a little background on what happened here with Ernest Jones in LA. He's been a starter for most of his career there. He's entering the final year of his rookie contract this season. Obviously wants that new contract, but he wasn't holding out or anything like that. There was none of the stuff you sometimes see with a guy who's in the last year of his contract wanting a new deal. But there is a player, a rookie for Los Angeles, Omar Speights, who has emerged throughout training camp. And a lot of rumblings around LA were that Ernest Jones, who's been a team leader, a defensive captain, wore the green dot, a very, very productive linebacker, one of the best linebackers in football, that he might be losing his starting spot to Omar Speights. And that's why this thing came out about him requesting a trade. And ESPN reported on Sunday that the Rams had given Jones permission to seek a trade, which obviously that's worded in a way that sounds like he requested a trade. Sean McVay addressed that in his press conference the next day, saying that, this is quote Sean McVay, "We never said that he requested a trade. We've had communication with his representation." So it looks like the Rams saw what was happening with Omar Speights and they wanted to move Ernest Jones off the roster. It wasn't because Ernest Jones requested a trade. And the Titans are the fortunate beneficiaries of this circumstance. I'm pulling that information from a great Athletic article by Jordan Rodrigue, who covers the Rams for The Athletic. I texted Jordan right after this news broke, just Ernest Jones to the Titans, wow. And she responded and said, probably one of my favorite players to have covered. So the people involved with the Rams who cover this team are like, they love this guy, Ernest Jones. Erica Tamposi, Ricky Hollywood, if you know who she is, she was the producer of Around the NFL that trained me. She now works for the Rams social media team. She replied to one of my tweets that you guys got a good one with a bunch of sad faces because she was bummed that the Rams lost Ernest Jones. So the people around LA absolutely love this guy. And we're going to get into some of the numbers and what he does for the Titans defense, but trade compensation, should probably hit that quickly. Ian Rappaport tweeted that the Titans gave up a 2026 fifth-round pick in exchange for Ernest Jones. Sorry, a 2026 fifth-round pick, that's what I said, in exchange for Ernest Jones and a 2026 sixth-round pick. So the Titans, not next draft, 2 drafts from now, slide from the fifth round back to the sixth round. That's it. That's all you give up for this guy. We're going to assume that a new contract is probably on the way because, again, he's in the last year of his rookie deal, but that has not been announced yet. But all in all, it feels like a steal for Ran Carthon to land one of the best inside linebackers in the league.
Number one, you're a superstar. You saw me answer the phone there, and you just kept talking. I'm in the middle of breaking Titans roster news right now, guys, and we're recording this. So once in a while, you're going to see me a lot on my phone here as I'm getting news and calls and texts. But great job on your part. I have a big problems with a couple things here, okay? And I heard everything you said. The Omar Speights thing makes no sense to me, okay? I'm going to be blunt. And it reeks to me, okay? It reeks of, first of all, this guy's had 100-plus tackles back-to-back years. 145 last year he had. This is a damn good football player, okay? A really good one. Now, the report comes out that he asked permission for a trade, and then he comes out and says, I never asked for one. That, to me, just goes to show you how much this industry sucks, how much happens without a player even knowing, okay? Yeah. My guess is that was decided between the Rams and his representation. Okay, the Rams knew he wanted a new deal. No surprise. Mid-round rookie, last year of his deal, he's vastly outperformed. Of course, he wants a new deal. Surely representation has asked for it. The Rams know they're not going to give it to him. Look into their history. Historically, they don't pay off-ball linebackers, just not a position they value. I get it. So they tell the representation, go ahead and find a trade for him. All while the player probably doesn't even know what's going on. Okay. And look, I'm jumping a little bit ahead here. I don't know that for a fact. I'm not reporting that. But for the player to come out and say, I never asked for one, it says it came as a surprise to him. That's what it strongly indicates, right?
Yeah.
The other thing that stinks to me here is I have a really hard time believing he was going to be replaced by a UDFA linebacker. Okay. Again, that reeks of them knowing this isn't working out. We're probably going to deal them. Let's just go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off now. They've got another linebacker in that defense starting right now that's not nearly as good as he is. Why wasn't he replaced by the UDFA?
Because he's not entering the last year of his contract.
Right. 1 + 1 is 2. Exactly. Yeah. Okay. So it makes no sense to me. I don't agree with it. It is what it is. It's an ugly business now. I put out some sources. Some of my buddies with the Rams said, oh, I've seen this regime do this before. They will replace a guy. It'll come as a surprise. I'm not buying it. The other linebacker's not nearly as good as he is. Okay, so it reeks to me. It's a bargain for the Titans. They get him for nothing. When I thought, I wrote an article the other day for the Draft Network about this guy being traded. I almost included the Titans. I didn't because I didn't think they would part with the compensation necessary. Not that I thought it was going to be a first or second rounder. Don't get me wrong, but I thought it'd be a third or a fourth.
Yeah.
Right. And they gave up a third for Snead. I mean, the Will Levis trade is still a thing. They're short on the capital that I thought it would take to get this guy. I didn't think it was take 2026, day 3. So they get him for nothing. He is a great fit for the Denard Wilson defense, a really damn good fit. Who's going to blitz more, him or Kenneth Murray? They're going to have to fight and argue over this. I can't believe they went out and got another blitzing backer like this guy to play next to Kenneth Murray. Denard Wilson's going to be crazy this year, guys. Like, he's going to be throwing shit at the wall. They're just going to be sending the kitchen sink. This is a great deal for the Titans.
Engage 8 every play. Anyone who plays Madden knows what I'm talking about.
Classic.
I want to read something here that was written by Jordan Dejani, who's an NFL on CBS Sports reporter, who wrote this yesterday, Monday, after the news about the trade permission, whatever was granted. Here's just word for word what Jordan wrote about Ernest Jones. It would be surprising to see the Rams ship off one of their young talents who was a leader on the defensive side of the ball. The 24-year-old Jones was selected by LA in the 3rd round of the 2021 NFL Draft out of South Carolina. He had a career year in 2023 with 145 combined tackles, 4.5 sacks, 14 tackles for loss, and 6 passes defended. Jones also has stepped up his performance in the playoffs. In Super Bowl 56, yes, Roman numerals are hard. In Super Bowl 56 versus Cincinnati Bengals, he recorded 7 combined tackles and a sack to go along with 3 quarterback hits. Last year against the Detroit Lions in Super Wildcard Weekend, he recorded 9 combined tackles, 2 sacks, and a forced fumble. This guy is a player who it would be surprising to see Los Angeles move him for all the reasons that, you just stated and I just stated. Like, he's their best linebacker, and now he's going to be the Titans' best linebacker. Some numbers that support what you're talking about with who's going to blitz more. Last season, Ernest Jones led all off-ball linebackers in total pressures with 33. He led, the next closest player had 26. So he led the NFL amongst all off-ball linebackers in pressures by 7 pressures last year. Kenneth Murray, for what it's worth, had 14 pressures last year, which was 25th most. So that's 2 guys who are in the top 25 in pressures generated from the off-ball linebacker position. One guy who's number 1 by a wide margin in Ernest Jones. And if you look at just his PFF grades, last season, 78.8 overall PFF grade. That was 13th among all linebackers. 86.2 run defense grade. That was tied for 7th among all linebackers. 83.1 pass rush grade. 6th highest among all linebackers. He had 18 tackles for loss, which was tied for 4th amongst all linebackers. The one area we may be having questions about is his coverage, where he did have 6 pass breakups last year, so that's a pretty good number for a linebacker. His coverage grade for PFF was only 62.5. That's, about average. It's not great, but it's a huge upgrade over Jack Gibbons. And I think that's the area that we haven't talked about yet, Justin, that we're going to finish talking about here is you're going to have Kenneth Murray and Ernest Jones starting together. That pushes Jack Gibbons down to the 3rd linebacker spot, first guy off the bench type of role. That's a lot more appropriate. Excuse me. That's a lot more appropriate spot for a guy like Jack Gibbons to be, because it was always a liability there at linebacker. And then you have the injury to Chance Campbell, out for the year with a torn ACL. You got Cedric Gray dealing with a nerve issue in his shoulder. No timetable set for his return. So the Titans linebacker depth that looked so strong like less than a week ago suddenly was the opposite of strong. They needed to make a move here, and they don't just go out and get depth. There was a lot of speculation on Twitter the Titans were going to save one of their roster spots for a waiver claim and bring in like a backup linebacker to shore up the depth. Well, no, Rand Carthon makes the ultimate move and says, we're going to go get a starting upgrade here in Ernest Jones. And I do wonder like how the fit's going to be, because Kenneth Murray, Ernest Jones, neither guy particularly excels in coverage. I think Ernest Jones is going to be better in coverage than Kenneth Murray, but they are going to get downhill quickly. They're going to stop the run. And yes, they are going to get after the quarterback. This might be the best pass rushing duo inside linebacker tandem when it comes to rushing the passer of any team in the entire league now. So you got what could be the best cornerback trio in the league, at least a top 5 cornerback trio. You got what could be a top 5 safety trio with Amani Hooker, Quandre Diggs, and Jamal Adams. And you got now probably the best pass rushing linebacking duo in the NFL with Ernest Jones and Kenneth Murray. Like, this is a huge upgrade from where the Titans were just a couple of months ago before they added all these pieces on defense to look at where they are now. And veteran guys, too, who know how to play in this league. I am super excited now. I think the ceiling of this Titans defense just went up 3 or 4 notches.
I agree. And that's one of the big things. Remember, they lost Chance Campbell and Garrett Wallow to season-ending injuries. Callahan said the other day, boy, we've taken some bumps at linebacker. So they felt a little thin here, I guess. It pushes Jack Gibbons down to the 3rd, as you said. And I still think they keep at 5, right? Like, I think Otis Reese and James Williams probably still make the roster. Maybe we get a surprise. Maybe it's 6. Cedric Gray obviously is in that mix. Whether he shifts to IR or not, I guess we'll find out soon. Then you've got Luke Gifford in that back end mix, maybe with Reese and Williams, because he's a really good special teams player. But I think it pushes everyone down to an appropriate role. It gives James Williams a chance to develop, to be honest, which is he should be allowed to do behind the scenes. Yeah. That's what he's going to do now. It makes Jack Gibbons a rotational thumper, not someone that's going to be a 3-down linebacker. I think that's important. And I still think Otis Reese, assuming he makes the roster, should still be in the mix for some snaps too. Some rotational snaps, right? So they've got a lot going on at the position, but they had lost a couple of bodies. They were feeling those absences at practice. And they went out and took an advantage of a rare opportunity, a chance to acquire, at the very least, a mid-level starter. I'd almost call him a high-level starter at his position, at off-ball backer, and take advantage of that chance to go get him at a discounted rate. Now, the question is, are they going to extend him? I imagine they will. I don't know that they do this deal without the extension. I don't think it's something that'll break the bank either way. Maybe like a 3-year, $30 million, right? Maybe a $10 million per year or slightly under 8-9 roughly. But hey, you've got Will Levis on the rookie deal, and that's when you take advantage of these things. So all in all, a home run acquisition for the Titans. Yeah,
I don't have much else to say, but I will share this. Tweeted by Brett Coleman. I would be super excited if I were a Titans fan. Jones is a phenomenal fit for them, should be an extremely blitz-heavy team this year, and Ernest Jones is one of the best pass-rushing inside linebackers in the game. This is exactly what the Titans needed. I think he might be the 3rd best player on the defense now, behind Jeffrey Simmons and L'Jarius Sneed. Like, he might be up there, and he's in the conversation.
Yeah, he's in the conversation, I guess. I think, a guy like Quandre Diggs, Harold Landry are probably right there with him. And I like Amani Hooker. I'd probably put him right there with him, too.
Healthy Amani Hooker's
in the conversation.
Yeah. So that'll do it. We did this podcast here. It was more than 10 minutes, so apologize for the misleading introduction there. But we hope you guys appreciated it. We will be back, like I said, later today after 4 p.m. Eastern, after 1 p.m. Pacific, after 3 p.m. Central, if you need all the time zones spelled out for you. When the final roster cuts have been all announced, we'll go through who made the team and who didn't. But we'll be back later to react to that. We'll talk about Malik Willis being traded to the Packers. So stay tuned to the channel. If you're subscribed to the channel and you have channel notifications turned on, you'll get an alert as soon as that video drops. You also remember to like this video, drop a comment below. We appreciate that. And this quick video was brought to you by Sinkers Beverages in East Nashville, Bluegrass Beverages in Hendersonville. Check out the sinkersbeverages.com website or follow the link in this podcast description to join the In Crowd. In Crowd members get access to allocated wines and spirits, exclusive events, early access to barrel releases, and more. All right, we'll be back later today. So until then, y'all stay safe out there. Tighten up for Ernest Jones. And tighten up. That was a bad outro, but who cares? We'll be back later. See you guys.
a Broadway sports media production.